What I'm saying is face reality. And if that reality, whatsoever that reality may be, no matter how ugly, if it creates in you a strong emotional reaction, examine that reaction. Understand that reaction. Because if you understand that reaction, you will understand yourself better. I didn't intend to do a video today, but something happened. And so it made me think, and I realized that I had something to say about what happened. Here's what happened. I did a video for my Patreon, or let me rephrase that. I posted today a video on my Patreon called Getting a Girl to Squirt. And it's about that. It's about how to, make a girl come so hard that she squirts, right? And there's actually a serious point to this. It's not just, I'm not being a fucking teenager here, for crying out loud. There is a very serious point to this particular issue, okay? But you know me, sometimes I like to fool around with my thumbnails and my titles, right? And so I thought it'd be funny, and that's the title I gave the post, and I put it up on Patreon. And as per usual, I shilled for my Patreon. Yeah, because if I don't shill for it, who will, right? Right, so I shilled for it, and I got a shitload of grief for this. Oh yeah. Yeah, what happened was that people weren't objecting to the fact that I was shilling for Patreon, because I do that periodically. What they were objecting to was me discussing something sexual, right? And it was really weird because a lot of people were offended by the notion of squirting. Oh yeah, I posted this in my community page, right? And a lot of comments were from people who were outraged that I would talk about this subject. They started thinking that I was something I'm not. There were actually people who unsubscribed. Actually, a lot of people unsubscribed, like 10 or 20 people, right? And I was kind of shocked. And it got me thinking, and it got me wondering why. What were they objecting to? And that's when I started realizing what was going on. You see, these people aren't facing reality. Yeah. See, in my video about squirting, right, what I'm talking about, the serious topic, is of course that, between a man and a woman, the whole pair bonding thing, is sexual enjoyment plays a pivotal role insofar as a woman's bonding to a man. That's the point of the video, right? But see, it's a little bit grim and a little bit gross and grotesque, this whole notion of what our bodies do, right? And these people who were shitting on me and unsubscribing to my channel, they weren't willing to face the reality of being a human being. Yeah, that's how I looked at it. And because you see, being a human being is grotesque. Being a human being is ugly. We human beings are an ugly species, not uniquely ourselves ugly, but rather just being alive is an ugly business, okay? There are moments of great beauty, when you see like little puppies playing, right? They're beautiful, the little puppies, and they're playing and they're rolling around, and then they shit and pee all over the goddamn place, right? And of course, then it's not so cute. Then when you're cleaning up the shit and piss of the little puppies, it's like, goddamn, that's gross, right? That's disgusting. Well, that's life. All of life is like that. There are moments and topics that are sublime and transcendent, and there are other topics that are grotesque and ugly and absurd and just vulgar, inherently vulgar. But we have to face them, every single one of them. Yeah, I remember this great interview with Werner Herzog, the German film director, right? Werner Herzog, he's a brilliant mind, and he was talking about the things that he watched on TV, and he said that he watched WrestleMania, and everybody laughed, right? It was at a public forum. He was giving like a live interview in front of a few hundred people, maybe a few thousand people, who knows? Anyway, he said that he watched WrestleMania, and everybody laughed, but then he said, no. See, you have to look at what everybody else is looking at. You have to look and not flinch. You have to look and not look away. because you have to understand what is attractive to everybody else, right? And this is a profound point of Werner Herzog's, but by the same token, I would say you have to look at those things that are most ugly in life. Not just your own life, although you must look at the ugly things of your own life, but in life in general. Because life is not, cute little puppies playing all the time. No, life, more often than not, is an ugly affair, right? And what's interesting, or I don't know how to put it, but what's remarkable, I suppose is the best way to say it, is that, see, the most interesting parts of life are often as not the ugliest, the most vulgar, the most grotesque, the most disgusting. And it's precisely those things that you have to look at really carefully, and you have to face them and not look away, not turn your eyes in disgust and say, oh, I don't want to see that, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to hear it, my ears are too delicate, my eyes will burn if I look at such a thing. No, you can't be that way. You have to face reality. Now, these people who were giving me grief about my video about squirting, right? I mean, I don't have anything against them. I don't know them. And they want to shit on me for talking about that, fine. If they are women who are shitting on me because they don't like the topic, because they're embarrassed about it, fine. But, don't give me grief about your embarrassment. And if they are men who feel squeamish about this particular topic, and therefore, since they feel squeamish about it, since they feel that they can't get a girl to squirt, right, to come so hard that she does squirt, that they have to shit on me out of a sense of sour grapes, out of a sense of resentment or envy. No, again, it's not my problem, it's their problem. I'm sorry to say, it is. It's you. It's your problem if you want to avert your eyes. See, a thing that's going on in our current culture, right? And these times that we're living in. We're so fucking comfortable. We're so comfortable. And everybody, just does everything in their power to make our lives comfortable, soothing, easy. Everything is easy, comfortable, appropriate, right? And so we become accustomed to a life that, that's frictionless. But see, life isn't like that. See? And especially when times get tough, when it's not just a little bit of friction, when the road is potholed like all get out, right? Well, that's when you have to have the resilience, to face that potholed road. You see what I'm saying? Life is not all frictionless, but we've gotten accustomed to it. We've gotten accustomed to it, and so now, whenever anybody says anything that, sort of like makes us feel a little bit of friction, a little bit uncomfortable, right? We freak out. We look away. We turn our eyes away from reality. We stick our heads in the sand, as opposed to turning to the light, turning to reality, facing that reality that's coming at us. Because if we don't face that reality, however ugly it might be, however it might make us feel squeamish or uncomfortable or just, a little bit nauseous and sick, right? If we don't face that reality will kill us. Absolutely. Do you know why ostriches stick their heads in the sand? It's famous, of course, right? Ostriches, they stick their heads in the sand. And everybody thinks it's a metaphor for their unwillingness to face reality. But actually, it's quite different. The reasons ostriches stick their heads in the sand is that, first of all, they don't put their heads in the sand. They lower their heads and their whole bodies down onto the ground, and they put their heads flat to the earth, but facing in the direction of the threat. And the reason they do this is because from afar, they look like a bush. Yeah. That's why they do it. It's a natural defense mechanism. They are not looking away from the danger. Oh no, they're facing it. They're just hiding from it in a very clever way, right? But it's people who stick their heads in the sand. People. Us. Don't be like that. Something makes you feel squeamish, makes you feel disgusted perhaps, makes you go like, ew, that's sick, that's gross, that's icky, right? Well, then you should ask yourself, why are you reacting that way? I've said so before, you know. The difference between men and every other creature on this earth is that we can control our emotions, right? Yeah. But I've also said that a lot of times when we feel a knee-jerk reaction, a knee-jerk emotional reaction, we should stop and examine that reaction. Why are we uncomfortable? Why are we made, to feel a negative way when in the presence of something? Like in the case of my Patreon video about getting girls to squirt, right? If it makes you feel uncomfortable, don't shit on me. Ask yourself why this makes you uncomfortable. Does it make you uncomfortable because you find that the physical reality of women is far from your idealization? Is that the reason? Or perhaps it is that you cannot or have never been able to get a girl to squirt, and therefore you feel like a loser. You feel resentful to anybody who claims that they can or that they have. And you want to reject that person because it's not really them, it's really your own failure. Is that it? That's a second possibility. And you see my point, there are myriad possibilities in this particular issue, but the point of this video is not to talk about the video about squirting. The point of this video is to make you aware that whenever you have a strong emotional reaction to something, recognize that that reality that touched you, that elicited this strong emotional reaction, well, there's something in you that you have to examine, and you have to learn to control it. Yeah? Yeah. Because if you have an emotional reaction to some outside stimuli, right? That strong emotional reaction could potentially do something very dangerous, which is dictate your actions. As I said, you should never do. You should never allow your emotions to dictate your actions. That's the difference between a man and everybody else on this earth, right? Yeah. So if you do have a strong emotional reaction to some external stimuli, you have to ask yourself why. You have to stop and not react to that stimuli, but rather look into your heart and ask yourself why this bothers you. It could be a very simple reason. It could be like in the squirting thing, it could be that you're just simply squeamish. And you're just squeamish and it makes you feel like icky. Good enough. But it could unlock something deeper within you. And again, I'm not talking about this particular issue on the squirting video, I'm talking about anything, right? I remember one time something happened to me. I was in my studio in London. I was lying on a sofa. I had a cup of coffee on my chest and I was reading a book, right? And somebody rang the doorbell. Now this doorbell was very annoying. It was like this loud buzzing noise and it was very abrupt. It wasn't like a gentle little, no, it was like, bah, like that, right? And it made me jump, but more than that, it made me jump and it made me angry, very angry. I spilled some coffee because I jumped. And, I wasn't happy about that, but the coffee was semi-cold, so it wasn't the big deal. I'd stained my clothes, but, it's just clothes, it's no big deal. But I was very upset. I was extremely upset. And it wasn't because of the spilled coffee. And I had to ask myself why. And I went to the little intercom, and somebody was delivering something. It was no big deal, right? But what happened after is that after I dealt with the delivery, and I was thinking about my reaction, I realized that it came from a deep fear, or let me phrase that. Well, I've told you guys before that when I was growing up, my old man bullied the shit out of me, right? And my old man, he was a bastard. I mean, I really do hope he burns in hell, right? And what happened was that he would be very abrupt. He'd sort of burst in, slam the door, and start yelling, right? And it made me jump, right? And here I was, this was a year or two ago, so I was, 49 years old? I'm 49 years old. The buzzer rings abruptly. It makes me jump, but it makes me afraid. And it was so weird because it was as a 49-year-old man that I understood where my anxiety and anger came from the mere buzzing of a doorbell. You see what I mean? How my emotional outburst, my emotional, it had a source. It had nothing to do with the doorbell. It had everything to do with my past history. And you see what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, face reality. And if that reality, whatsoever that reality may be, no matter how ugly, if it creates in you a strong emotional reaction, examine that reaction. Understand that reaction. Because if you understand that reaction, you will understand yourself better.